Teamster Power 767 Reality Check with Jeff Schenfeld and Garfield Hooper.
All right, welcome to another episode. Happy and healthy New Year to everyone. We have a full house today. So we have a couple of guests. We got OJ Keys, feeder driver at a Lone Star, Javier Nieves, feeder driver at a Lone Star, Seth Pasick, package car driver at Independence, Dakota Hanson at a local 983 package car driver. And so what we want to start off with, with New Year, this is directed towards the feeder drivers. What do you guys think?
I guess I'm just chopped liver over here.
No, yeah, everyone knows us, right? Everyone knows. Listen, we're the chopped liver today, and so yeah. So as always, myself and Garfield. Okay, all right. So why don't we start off today? The feeder drivers. What do you guys think going to this new year are the biggest issues facing feeder drivers? Biggest, Javier. What do you think?
Well, currently, we just got a decision. They're working on the feeder work rules right now, and last Friday we got the decision of that there will be no more bid on call positions, which I personally disagree because, in my opinion, that cut that cut permanent jobs that drivers can bid on. And a lot of drivers like to be able to use their seniority, whether they could be on an actual route, they can cover a job for the week, or they can go on a day by day basis. It works out for people's schedules. And now because of this decision, which I'm hearing it may not everybody in the feeder committee agreed
Hmm.
to, but Reeves basically agreed with the company, hey, these rules, the feeder work rules, the MOU is expired, which means there's no more bid on call positions that cut actual permanent jobs. So now people are forced to take work that they may necessarily not want to. And that could be seen as a seniority violation as well, because now you got somebody lower, you know, running a better schedule than somebody above them. So we got that going on right now. I think the biggest things for this year are job creations. Hopefully, we can get mileage jobs. It's really the feeder work rules. I think that's the biggest thing that's you know going on right now that our local is focusing on. Hopefully, they can kind of fix what I think is a mistake that they just made. But OJ, do you have anything else you want to piggyback on?
Um, yeah, so common sense. I hope common sense is going to be utilized for the feeder department, this year and beyond. It's been no common sense. Like you say, taking away the on-call bid position is going to force drivers to take a job. And then you're gonna have lower seniority guys essentially may possibly be getting more hours, getting making more income than the seniority guys that want that income. Now there's a group of seniority guys that don't want the hours, but there's some that do want it, right? So you taking away that right for them? Because let's say you were in the middle somewhere and you get stuck on an 8-hour CPU job because you have to take a job and you don't even necessarily even like doing CPUs. I don't think that's fair. You know what I mean? But that's just my personal opinion. Secondly, layoffs. I think we need to attack that differently. Maybe talk with the company about there are senior drivers that want days off. I've had several guys come to me during the last 2 years and say, "Hey, man, I love to take off voluntary a Monday or a Friday or a Sunday or whatever, and let you guys work." Well, okay, so management has posted um, a voluntary layoff sheet before in the past, but it was only like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. I mean, the slow days or whatever. So I think work would be more guaranteed And it'll be a plethora of work for lower senior guys if we can have, Sunday, Monday, or Fridays, or even Saturdays, because the Tuesday through Saturday guys that come in like at 3 a.m. or something like that may want to take a Saturday off. So, we're still helping the company, right? Let's not help the company in a way where it screws over guys. Let's help the company in a way where everyone is benefiting from it. I'm just a big believer in we all have to work together. We all have a job to do. We really can all get along. It doesn't have to be a fight.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
once again, common sense. It has to be common sense.
It's also
yeah,
it's also worth
yeah.
pointing out too that we're talking about the feeder work rules. This is just for local 767. So if you're listening outside of our local, then none of this real feeder conversation, a lot of this feeder conversation we're having right now, it's not going to pertain to you. So just make that
Well,
aware.
it can pertain because our work rules, a lot of
Yeah.
the country actually looks to. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got
Yeah.
you.
A lot of the country actually looks to us to see what we're doing. There's
Yep.
new language that everybody's got to have feeder work rules. That's because of us. Local 767 was, if not the first, one of the first to have an actual separate,
Yes.
how you would say, I guess, contract specifically for a classification, feeder. So a lot of the country actually kind of does look at our sleeper rules, our feeder work rules. So I always want, us to have the strongest language so other locals can be like, hey,
Yeah.
they got it like this, we should be able to do it the same way. So that's why,
Well, not
I
on
think it's
this last
important.
decision, though. Not on this last decision. You don't want to do it that
Well,
way.
yeah, it is what it is. But, just to
Yeah.
bounce off
Yeah.
of OJ, representation,
Yeah.
I don't want us to be a political, a podcast or episode, but
No.
for in my experience, I've never seen our local kind of just go to the feeder department, stand there, check in on the drivers, check in on dispatch. I've never seen it. Hopefully, this next couple of years, they can be better at coming and seeing the drivers and just making sure everything is going how it should be.
Yeah, all locals. I've heard from people across the country. It's kind of the same thing. It's not just ours. So,
Yes.
it's, I think everyone's got to be involved. Every local administration, the VAs, got to be more hands-on, right? I mean, can't just do it ourselves. They have to back the stewards, the members, they have to back them, and that goes for everyone across the country. So it's important. And also you guys with subcontracting too, right? I mean, it's out of hand.
Well, I,
So,
I would like to add one more thing as well, which is actually very
yeah,
important. Um, there's gonna be a lot of moving parts the next 2 or 3 years. A lot of these hubs across the country are temporarily shutting down. Commerce City, Denver, New Orleans, Jackson, Oklahoma City. That's one of the big ones affecting us because we're gonna have to be, picking up some of their volume and moving it around. So jobs are gonna get, either hidden or jobs are gonna, they're gonna bounce around the hub. So hopefully, our local can do a good job at finding, where the work is, what are we doing, and creating more work. But it's really gonna affect a lot of the country because a lot of these older hubs, they're gonna automate them. So there's actually a lot of moving parts, the next couple of years when it comes to, the feeder departments.
yeah, yeah. Well, so that's some of the things with feeders. So now we're gonna get to the issues with package. So I think the obvious one that's been going on before this whole thing happened is SurePost, right, Dakota? You were talking about it before.
Yeah, sure post like just not just because we're not giving post office the stuff anymore, the packages, but the fact that before that contract ended, we were giving them more packages than they should based off the size and measurements and the
Yep.
weight of those packages. We're allowing these packages to go through these systems. And what is that doing for the package car facilities? They're allowing people to get laid off, cutting routes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's definitely been a problem. The size of the packages, and that's it hasn't been addressed. I mean, there have been grievances, but I mean, it needs to be addressed. That's a big issue. I
Mhm.
mean, it's crazy. And now, with everything going on, no more show pros, there should be more work for everyone, right? They should be spreading it out now. And it's what we want. We want more people on the clock. That we don't want them, shoving more stuff in less trucks, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that's agreed. What do you think for yourself, Seth? What's another issue?
I think management and employee relations, obviously, like is a huge problem, always has been, but it seems like it's only getting worse. Harassment, over supervision, intimidation, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it's a constant battle. Like it doesn't seem to be being addressed with the contract in any meaningful way. It doesn't seem to be really being addressed by our local or by other locals that I talk to around the country.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, that's always been a problem, but it shouldn't always be a problem. It should be addressed. I don't understand. I don't get it. I just things like that when I was a BA, I mean, it was just you go after it. I mean, you go after, you don't let them just do what they want. And
yeah,
I don't know how it just
and that's not just us either. That
and
that goes for like all
yeah,
over the country.
it is all across the country. We just stronger stewards, maybe stronger BAs, we just we got to attack this. We can't sit back and say, okay, wait for them to do this, so we're gonna, just be reactive. Got to be, more proactive. I mean, that's killer. I
Well,
mean,
I
that,
mean,
that that's actually killer. Yeah.
I think that
So
you need to and like empower and train your stewards to be able to stand up to all this sort of stuff. And people are
yeah,
afraid, and the
yep,
intimidation, it works largely, right? That's why they do it. You
yep,
know,
yep. Just like when they threaten on a holiday, and this is exclusive of air hubs. We know air hubs are different, okay? But when they try to, force you in, you have to come in, and it's like, no, you don't. I mean, the bottom line is, like we always say, it's a holiday. You're getting paid for the holiday. You don't have to show up, but if you want, it's double time. That's it. You never dissuade anyone. You don't do that. But, people are like, Jeff, do I have to come in? I'm like, just think of it as the day after Thanksgiving. It's the same premise. Any
yeah.
holiday, it's the same thing. I mean, you want to make money? Come in. That's it. You don't? You're getting paid for the holiday. I mean, I think that it shouldn't have to come up every year. It does, right?
Yeah,
With the holidays, but and that's part of the education, right? That's
yeah.
part of educating people. And but let me ask the two feeder drivers for a second. How is harassment, in feeders? How is that, what's going on there?
Um, it's been, far as I know and what I've heard, it's been kind of cool lately. It hasn't been as bad. Oh,
Yeah.
we've been having some moving parts, some new managers coming in. Some of the ones that we were not too fond of leaving.
Yeah.
Of course, it was peak, so the on roads were kind of occupied with the expedited services, and I just feel like if you come to work and just do your job and it's kind of cool right now from my point of view. I don't know how Javier thinks. Oh,
Um,
just sorry. Dispatch is still kind of a wild here. And then there's the element of there's no kind of like communication right now with specialists. Like there's no clear picture of
uh-huh.
who's union and who's not. I kind of talked to a couple specialists on the side, just try to have my little powwow with them. But I mean, I'm just a driver, But I don't know if they know that they're brothers and sisters now, and they have to kind of, you know, I'm not saying do anything unethical, but
I
kind
know
of
what
have
you're
our
saying.
backs a little more. You feel me? So yeah,
Yeah, instead of acting like management, right?
right. And they're so used to it, and it's
Yeah.
going to take a
Yeah.
process to break that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Well,
it is.
just like clockwork, in the beginning of the year, that's when management really starts looking because there's nothing to do. They start looking at meal times, on property time, just whatever they can look at, just to go check in on you, just go see if you're doing something wrong. It's
Yeah.
usually at the beginning of the year. So, I try to tell, before I was removed as a steward, I used to tell the drivers, my drivers, the drivers, hey, just work like there's a damn supervisor sitting next to you on an OGS ride, and you'll be fine. Because what they like to do is they like to use the telematics, they like to look at the numbers, and then they start following you just to see if you slip up and catch you on a slip up. They try to catch you on a lie, dishonesty, and that's the easiest way that they can try to fire you. So it's usually in the beginning of the year, but I try to, tell the drivers, hey, just follow the methods and everything will be all right. But one of the main ones is I think Arlington's about to introduce cameras, but a lot of the feeder trucks have cameras, and that's another way for them to try to harass you, trying to bring you into the office, just try to see if you're going to be dishonest with them. So then again, they can follow you and try to catch you slipping.
Yeah, I mean it's all that, and again, it comes down to if everyone's educated and they know the contract, they know what they can and they can't do, and every January when management wants to think they can do whatever they want, and watch, look, oh, all of a sudden the members are educated, they're not falling for it, they're just doing what they're supposed to do, and they can't get them, they're not slipping up. That's why we always say education is always important. That's why we do this podcast. We try to educate people. So it's I think everyone's got to do their part, and we know there's issues in all classifications, but I just wanted to discuss a couple of those. But Garfield, do you have anything, any big issues going on, you think?
Not really. Javier mainly touched on it too. This is firing season. This is the Article 54 season, Article 52
Yeah.
season. This is what everybody, they're trying to cut things down. The SurePost may blacken that off a little bit, because if everybody else has been as busy as we have, they can't
Yeah.
afford to really lose drivers. They don't have enough drivers right now as it is. So,
Yes.
it may be a little different this year than it is most years, but going into spring, it's always it's always time for the dismiss, time for the ride-alongs. It's important to make sure they're giving you that 24 hours notice
Absolutely.
before they take a ride along. If they're trying to
Yep.
ride with you more than once a year, you file that grievance and make them have a meeting with management before they can ride with you on car again. And like Javier said, just it's funny. I actually made this same quote to a supervisor a couple of weeks ago. They said they told somebody, I was in the office with them, and said, just do the job like you got a supervisor riding next to you. And I looked at the soups as like, yeah, we're always here, we're always watching. And I said, yep, and so are we. And I looked at the soup. I said, I need you to do your job like I'm sitting on your shoulder every day too.
Yeah, like
Garfield
like
said.
you said, and listen, if anyone has any questions, they should get with their BA,
Yes.
their steward,
Yeah.
maybe an ex-steward who knows what they're talking about. Either one. So listen. So I appreciate everyone being on today. For myself, Garfield, we want to thank Dakota, Seth, OJ, and Javier for being on. And everyone, have a good night.
We all deal with national language, but on this podcast, when it comes to supplemental language, we deal mostly with the southern region. And as always, it's best to get advice from your local stewards or business agents. If you would like to reach out to us with any questions, we have an email address, 767realitycheck@gmail.com. That's 767realitycheck@gmail.com.
And remember, strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others.